Okay. Joining me now is Chita Rivera, the legendary, the famous, the wonderful Chita Rivera.
Thank you.
Chita, you're performing 2 numbers from Bye Bye Birdie tonight.
Yeah.
What's it like
It's-
to be
it's-
back in those shoes?
I tell you, when the memories are wonderful, and I've been blessed my whole life, but the minute the vamp started, I saw Dick in front of me, Van Dyke. I saw those years just came, just flowing back. It was such a great time to do it in 1963, I think it was. And those were 2 wonderful songs. English teacher, I got a lot of letters from English teachers that felt as though we had, honored them. Nobody ever does, they say. And Rosie, which is just the sweetest song that Charles Stross and the Adams wrote. So it's a lovely time for me. And the other song is How Lucky Can You Get, written by Fred Ebb and John Canner.
Oh, terrific.
And it's a song I've always enjoyed doing. So, but I'm here in the midst of all these amazing singers, and so I think I'd feel a little better if I was kicking my leg or something.
Well, I'm sure you're going to be terrific. Any of the folks tonight that you've never worked with before that you're particularly excited
Brent,
about?
I've never, Spiner, I've never worked with him before. I've seen him on television. I hope I said his last name correctly.
Absolutely correctly.
Good.
It's interesting because I've been talking to a number of people,
Yeah.
and many of them have said how excited they are to have the opportunity to work with you, and that you, in fact,
wow.
were the person that gave them the inspiration
Wow.
to develop a career
Wow.
in performing. Who did you look up
Jeez.
to as a youngster?
Oh gosh, well, I was a ballet kid, so it was Maria Tallchief and Tanakia Leclerc, and it was mostly Nora Kay. I always wanted to be Nora Kay from ballet theater. I loved movies. I thought Citrice was terrific, but I was drawn to the ballet most of the time.
And what made you make the move to stage?
Well, I went with a girlfriend to an audition. She needed a job, and I was on scholarship to the American School of Ballet, and I said, all right, I'll go. And it was a lesson to me because I tell a lot of kids this. It's amazing when you don't need something, when you don't want something, you just are free and you just go there and everything is okay. And when you want it, you become tense and you withdrawn or whatever it is. And I got the job and she didn't. And I called my mother and said, Mom, I have a $250 job as one of the principal dancers dancing for Jerome Robbins and Call Me Madam with Elaine Stritch. So the road just opened up and I turned.
Mm-hmm. What is it about Broadway that makes it special? I mean, you've worked in film, you've worked on television. What makes Broadway special?
I've done most of my career has been Broadway, but it's alive. It's simply alive. You do what you do and you get reactions immediately from your audience, and it's like what goes around comes around. It's like putting a plug in a socket and right away the light comes on and you get response. I wouldn't change it for anything. It's a little late anyhow to change anyhow.
Well, you've brought a wonderful spark to the world of musical theater, and it's great that you're a part of this production tonight. Let's talk a little bit about, the program is called My Favorite Broadway, The Love Songs.
Yeah.
Any moments in your career that you can remember in a love scene or singing a love song, maybe a moment where a disaster was impending or something funny happened?
Yeah, there is one, but I can't tell it.
Oh, darn! Come on, give it a try. No, it's X-rated?
Well, it's not X-rated. It's just a little embarrassing. So not for me, but for the other person. But, gosh, noises that break the moment. I remember clearly the first time I was very nervous about kissing Dick in Bye Bye Birdie. I was extremely nervous. I mean, I almost didn't even want to come to rehearsal. I mean, oh my God. I think it was my first kiss, too, that I'd ever had, because I don't think Bernardo kissed Anita in West Side. But the room was full, and my nerves were over in a second, and it was lovely. So I think the first kiss by Dick Van Dyke is a pretty nice record.
You handled it pretty well, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
What would you say? Well, actually, was there ever a song that you really didn't like performing or singing, and you had to continue singing it? And
Well, I tell you, and this was foolish, this is just not knowing. But, at the beginning of rehearsals, you're never really sure of anything. You have to learn something, then it has to go into your mind and your heart and your soul. And it takes time. When they wrote Spanish Rose for Birdie, I didn't like it. I really didn't. I thought it was just obvious, and I just, and then I got to do it, and I got to do it, and I got to understand it, and I listened to the response from and then I had a ball doing it. So, off the top of my head, that's the only one that I can think of. There were some songs in 1491 that I have conveniently forgotten. It was left out in California with the rest of the sets and costumes.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a success.
Isn't that interesting, though, because Spanish Rose is such a fabulous
Spanish Rose
number.
is brilliant.
Yeah.
But what do we know?
Had to learn to love it. What are the biggest misconceptions you think that people might have about the world of musical theater and Broadway performers?
That it's easy, that it's glamorous, because it's far from glamorous, and it takes time. They think that what they see up there, and it takes a lot of forces. It takes the choreographer and the director and the scenic designer and the costume designer. It takes everybody getting along. It takes everybody pitching in, and for one reason, and that's the play. It's also the casting of the show. So it's very, very difficult, and it's time-consuming. But I think that's what makes theater what it is. That's what makes it solid. That's what makes the performers understand what they're doing. It's not like a cup of instant coffee where it's gone. It
Huge
stays
team
with
effort.
you. It becomes a part of you, of your tapestry. So I'm just loaded. You're looking at a tapestry of all kinds of colors and feelings, and all from the theater. And you also get the feeling when you walk into a theater that a lot of things were left behind by a lot of wonderful performers. A lot of dance steps, a lot of notes. This building is filled with them.
Great way to think of it.
It's a great,
What about the audience? What makes a great audience special?
One second. Just let the siren go. Right.
Okay, we have speed.
Okay, I only have a couple more questions anyway. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Broadway audience. What makes a great audience special? What makes them a great audience?
When they get it. When you feel as though the plug and the socket have connected. When they really understand it. When they care about it. When we've done our job. We were just saying just the other day, it's amazing. Some audiences seem as though they all get in the lobby and say, okay, let's like it tonight. Everybody does. Or, okay, let's not get some of these jokes tonight. All of us together, let's just not laugh.
It's a plot. They're plotting against you. Right?
That's what we think. It was George Tavorsky and Bruce Adler and myself that were talking about that. They're two fabulous guys where anything goes with me. And we kind of decided that sometimes they do. But actually, the truth is, when we do our job and they understand it, and they come away with what the writer intends for them to come away with.
Well, let's talk very quickly about public television.
Yeah.
You're a New Yorker.
Right.
I am assuming you've watched a little public television.
Oh, a little. That's just about the only channel that I do. I don't watch a lot of television, but public television is the channel that I watch. And
what is it that sets public television apart and Channel 13 apart?
Well, it's everything. It's educational. It's entertaining. There's so much variety on public television. For the kids, it's amazing. For me, when I tell you I don't watch very much of anything else, it's really the truth. If we didn't have public television, I think we'd be in a lot of trouble. We just need everybody. Shall I make my plea now?
Absolutely, go for it.
We really need everyone to just send in and keep it alive, because we need to have these wonderful shows, and we would never have them unless we had public television. So please join. If you haven't joined, join. And if you have, just keep it coming. Just keep it coming, as I do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
You're
Chita
so
Rivera.
welcome. So welcome.
You don't need that hand.
I said,
Yeah, you said 13.
do you want her to
so
just
that's
one more?
fine. I think that's
I thought she
very
was so
powerful
good.
because you said 13, I can't.
Nationally, and then some of it might.
All
be
right, okay.
locally.
But Mitch, would you ask,
All right. Well, I think the fact that you've talked about the teamwork involved in creating a Broadway production, I think that leads nicely
Yes.
into the concept of public television
Yeah.
working with its audience. So please encourage the people in the best way that you can to become a part of our team.
Well, that's brilliant. I wish I'd said that. Channel 13 is the channel to tune into, and that is the channel to keep alive. Public television is Channel 13, and if you haven't joined, join. If you joined, keep sending that money to keep it alive so that we can all have perfection as far as television is concerned. It's our only hope.
Thank you. Chita Rivera.